everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to
Good
Chestnut
evening.
Chats.
Great day.
Hey,
So no one told you life was gonna be this way. Good job, Joe. Listen, we are entrepreneurs at this point in our careers. Hey, we are chestnut checkers. I am William Alexander. I'm the fixer. Um, had to fix. We have Kristen Marisence. We have the founder. We have the philosopher. We have Tay, Michelle, and we have the F. I got to remember your F. We have Lovey
Fairy. The fairy.
the fairy, Lovey the fairy. Listen, we're talking about some deep stuff today, some light stuff, some important stuff, some stuff that we can all gain to learn, share, explore, and really hope that we can get to the next level of what we call life. We're talking about friends. Everybody's got to have them friends.
right.
Um, but with that said, we're gonna get into it. But before we do, we have some current events. We have a lot of current events to touch base on. Some stuff has happened.
Hey, Christina. Man, listen, okay. I'm sharing, but we're gonna do current events. So let's just jump right in the deep end of the pool. I hope y'all can swim because fuck Diddy, fuck the federal prosecutors, fuck the justice system, fuck the defendant, fuck the fucking all of that, the bailiff, the bitch doing the stenography, fuck all y'all niggas in that New York courtroom on today. Just to make sure y'all know I said it and you heard it here first. Cause no.
Well, everyone except the artist, like the court sketch artist, he get a pass. But everybody else,
Right.
yeah, y'all eat that.
Oh God, man. Like, so just to put the news in perspective before we go into our opinions further about it. Look, the Diddy trial has actually ended and is in and has been the guilty and non-guilty verdicts have came back. Out of the five charges he was originally, well, out of the five that was left of the eight that he was originally charged with, because they dropped three before, he was only actually found guilty of two charges of transportation to engage in prostitution, which carry a maximum sentence of 10 years. They're saying that he could get anything from time served to 10 years at this point. William was saying in the back chat he expects him to be home by the end of 2025.
Well, I
It
mean,
was,
that isn't going to happen seeing as how sentencing is October 3rd and they denied him bail.
They did
I
deny
don't,
him bail.
they definitely denied him bail. They were, I think the funny part was the fans still of Diddy, the fans still of Diddy that were out there, out there on the streets with
embarrassing.
baby oil. Y'all, we have
Embarrassing.
we
That's a mess.
have to do better. That's all. Like that. What y'all? There, we have to do better.
I'm so
Why do they
aggravated.
really find the crackheads to show out after something like that? Like, it's always like, why? Why couldn't the news find someone there knowledgeable and capable and sensible about themselves to interview about the trial? Why the hell do we get the images of the crackheads? Because I know y'all saw her with the blue hair. Y'all can't tell me she ain't a crackhead. Like, why do we always resort to that when
That
it
was
comes to us? Like, it's always the crackheads out there wilding out.
Well, I mean, it is their job to kind of keep the perspective skewed to the way they want people to see us. So,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
I
that's
mean,
how your kid tied your wife, and what's her name? We ain't got no time for that. It's all of that. You know what I'm saying? Every time white girl jump into a black man's arms, you know, it's always that. It's always that. So I just know that that's what they're gonna do.
old boy running down the street for his life through New York. It's listen. I get it. I don't. I'm not even gonna lie and say I get it, but I'm just I'm perplexed.
Hmm. to
Oh,
What
say
I
that.
don't understand is how, in God's name, he was charged for prostitution but got off on sex trafficking. That math don't math to me.
be
Like
the
they
uh,
said that he traveled for prostitution.
He transported
so when
people for
they
prostitution,
gave
but they couldn't prove the prostitution, which is why it's not sex trafficking.
when they went ahead and based the entire hearing on the feelings of the moment that we saw, we all talked about. I knew he was gonna walk.
You said
He wasn't gonna get that RICO charge because let's talk about it. They never even talked about the RICO charge.
that, right?
They talked about really how people felt with what we saw to be true
Hey,
on
ladies.
the film. And what they said was, is that who we know him to be true? And
So
that's what they stuck with and focused on.
let's not even stick to what they stuck with. What bothers me in regards to this is including this one that just ended down here with YSL and Young Thug and these niggas, right?
Mhm.
Correct, Christina. The reality is you cannot have a RICO charge against one person. He was
It's
the
an
only
organization.
right. He's the only defendant. So once there's no Cody's, the RICO charge goes out the window. So I kind of knew he wasn't going to go on that, but I did expect for those prostitution, sex trafficking charges to stick.
I mean, and you know, I guess because everything is so new, like we just heard about it, what, like 2-3 hours ago. Well, I heard about it 2-3 hours ago. Um, I I think that the judge might, go for the maximum. What our
So
president may do but I really think that they're going to go for the maximum as an example. Um, but I think he still has enough in the pot to still get out by 2026.
right. I,
I mean, and
I
here's my
I
example.
hope not.
My
And I'll
one
tell you why.
example is how they went ahead and crucified Bill Cosby, and where's he at? He's sitting right at home, right
Yeah,
here.
but he did
Bill
plenty of
Cosby is no longer a threat either. You know what I'm saying? Bill
Well,
Cosby ain't out there. One, he ain't try to kill nobody. For real, for real.
he ain't tried.
And
Like, listen, he
and
did it. No, sorry.
did it. But I mean, Bill isn't a threat to anyone anymore. You know what I'm saying? Diddy is. Diddy is definitely still a threat. He about to be on his Donald Trump shit and be like, everybody who spoke out against me, I'm gonna touch you with baby oil.
You think that he legitimately has that type of power still?
I think he paid
I,
somebody for this whole trial to happen. And in this way, somebody got
Absolutely.
paid. Listen, when you've been
So
sucking Clive Davis's dick since you're 17 years old, you have that kind of power, my nigga. This is where, okay, hold on, because we just talked about taking deep breaths. I'm trying to
I
learn.
appreciate you for
Look,
that moment right there, because that shit got heavy. Wait a minute.
because listen, okay, so all of this sex stuff aside, because this was just embarrassing, right? Kim Porter, Andre Harrell, Heavy D, the dude in Atlanta that was dating Cassie that wound up mysteriously dead. Like
big.
Big Tupac, uh,
And the list goes on.
and
So
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 we
I
haven't
have
even
a question
what type of power
because
this has if all of this is being swept under the rug. That's why I
Mhm.
kind of like jumped up like that. Because you talk about power when you really
Yeah,
think about all the people, Jamie Foxx, even like all of the people that have said that this dude did something to them, and
right.
nobody cares. It's aggravating, bro. It's
And
aggravating.
no, and I agree with 100% with what you're saying. Um, and part of me, I didn't see the whole thing. So my questions that are now going to come are going to be coming of ignorance. Between the three of y'all, can we say that we saw Albie Shore on the stand?
No, I didn't watch the trial,
I didn't watch
but
it
we
Did
either.
all
we
know
see
that
did we
he
see
almost
Farnsworth Bentley?
he almost died. No, And I've been asking that
So
nigga's dead, bro.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I will say. If we would have saw them, then I believe that the organization as a whole would have went down.
And see, I asked the question earlier because all of these people are very nonchalant about this Diddy shit. If Biggie was alive, he would have been a co-defendant. And y'all motherfuckers really playing this game like this ain't cool. If Biggie was alive, he either would have been a victim testifying against him, or he would have been a co-defendant. And then where all of y'all niggas who up Diddy's ass, you know, because y'all tri-state niggas who rap, like no, absolutely not. I'm tired of this 90s mentality of, hey, yo, bitch, but you was ugly anyway. If I was ugly, why the fuck did you holler at me? So you could drug my drink while I come over here and take what you want anyway? Like, this is the life we live.
Wow,
and I always go back to the bear for me, because this is why we chose the bear. These are the niggas we're dealing with without Diddy's money, because the niggas with Diddy's money are doing it so they think they can too.
So I have a question for you, for you ladies. Do you think with all that, I mean, and we understand the weight of public opinion, do you think that all that I mean, most of us know it to be true. A lot of what he's done and who he was, we knew it to be true. But now that the public and the entire world gets to see, do you think he still has that same?
Yes.
Wow.
I think he has power because he has information on people, on powerful people.
I guess my question, a better question is, do you think that he will get back to the
status that he was before?
Today.
Will he get back to that status?
Today. He's still there. He never left. These niggas don't believe it. If he wasn't convicted the same way they didn't believe it, we all listened to R. Kelly after we seen that tape. Nobody believed it until he got convicted. However many years later, that girl was like 36 by the time he got convicted.
And folks still don't believe it.
Still don't.
I mean, I definitely can say the supporters won't. But those who, and I'm not going to say those who are suffering from the experience of a Diddy, but you're talking about those who like, all right, I just needed to put the name to the face. The I guess the abuse to the giant or to the boogeyman. Those people, do you think that they still exalt or have that level of trepidation or intimidation to Diddy after all that we've heard?
I think that, not for nothing, there are still very naive 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds trying to get into a business that he has power in. And as long as he can wield that power, he can come home today and do exactly what he did. I was just joking with Lovey about the baby oil. It's only so much ketamine-laced baby oil you can put on a person before their brain pops out their head, aka Jamie Foxx. Like, why wasn't the baby oil tested? Why did we not hear anything other than it was there? Yeah, I'm definitely still using No Diddy Rose.
And that's what it leads to. Like, for me, it's like, all right, like, you know, like after a certain point, once you're made a joke of it, it's like, do you really take this person seriously until they do something serious?
Yeah, because Jeffrey Dahmer was a joke with that fucking.
That's what I'm saying. Like that.
If he was alive today, I wouldn't want to live nowhere near where the fuck he was at.
Right. Thanks.
You see what I'm saying? Like this is monstrous shit to me. Like this is not
power. To that comment right there, power is real, and I agree with that. But I think that his obsession and his struggle with power is really the issue, and how he's going to be affected by these next. I would say this next year, I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
Because he's not much older than we are, right?
55.
Right. He's not much older than we are, which means he was raised by the same type of people, which means that getting caught only makes you sneakier. He's not going to stop. These are proclivities that need to be examined. This nigga needs to If nothing else, he needs to be in a mental institution. Like there's something wrong with somebody who does this type of shit to people regularly without compunction or remorse. There's something wrong with that. And I think that's where everybody's disappointment lies in these verdicts. That there's nothing.
I agree wholeheartedly. Keep going, please.
I mean, there's nothing that anybody can say to me that's going to make me look at the way people were affected by him and say it's okay and say not guilty, because I looked at them people, feelings or no feelings. I looked at them people.
And I think that was kind of like the point I was leaning to when you deal with like an O.J. Simpson. Or you deal with a
OJ
or you deal with a trade the what's the bull Mark Zimmerman. I think Mark Zimmerman would be a more appropriate person for me.
Mark Zimmerman, who's that?
The motherfucker who shot Trayvon Martin. And all I'm gonna say about
no. Hey, George Zimmerman. That's his name. Thank you, George Zimmerman. So the guy George Zimmerman. Do you see? I don't even remember the motherfucking name. But once, like, it was like, all right, he was, I guess, found not guilty.
Yes, Rosie.
But I guess his reputation, I guess, they said, okay, he got $1 million. And people really were like, oh, you know what, let's donate. Y'all remember when he got that bunch of that GoFundMe shit? Mm-hmm. Okay, after the GoFundMe, where is he now?
Fat as hell and on tour.
Here's the thing, right?
You think?
We kind of gotta recognize what we're talking about here though as well, because the reality is,
hold on 1 second, Kristen. That was the Rittenhouse kid I'm thinking about.
Right.
That was Fat as hell and on tour. That's Rittenhouse. That's not Zimmerman. My bad.
I could see that.
So
go ahead.
What I was saying about Zimmerman is, and anybody else, the kid, if you're talking about the weird orange-haired kid that shot up the church, that's Rittenhouse, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that's wrong.
No.
Okay.
No, Kyle Rittenhouse is the one who was shooting at his mom. Took him some states over so he could shoot some folks underage.
Got you. Okay. Well, either way, I personally, we were fed a Bible that allows us epigenetically to be taught certain things, and reap what you sow is not something they're always taught in the Catholic Church. And so that doesn't necessarily apply to them when we talk about karma. You got to understand that you got to believe it to achieve it. Like if it ain't in you, it ain't in you. And I understand that there are universal laws, but they have to understand what the consequence of it is to understand they're going through a consequence.
Okay, I have a question for you then.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are going through it and they don't acknowledge it, well, then what do they call it? Even though it just is what it is, what do you call it then?
That's exactly what they call it. They call it is what it is. They're not looking at it as the consequences of previous actions. It's just life happening. We look at certain stuff as the consequence to previous actions, and it hit different because now it makes us introspective. But if you don't have that ability to see it that way, then it's never going to be that way for you. It just is life.
Listen.
And that's not his mother, that's his aunt, and that's a whole other nasty.
That's a whole auntie. That's a whole auntie, yo.
Yeah, for real. That's his mom to you.
Another crazy thing.
But I get what y'all saying. And the whole I think that the 80s babies, the latchkey kids, we probably kind of sniffed this whole thing out like we just gonna watch this happen. And back to R. Kelly, although we knew, I think it was a grief that we all felt in the moment. Like, damn, this is the motherfucker that's like he's been woven into everything, and we gotta now process that.
Right.
Most of us probably have, but it was a hard process, man. Like
this was a hard process for y'all men. We seen it.
Yeah, right. It wasn't hard for me at all.
Well, I'm not talking about the process of what he did. What he did was terrible. What he did was heinous. who he was musically was, arguably woven into that. But it's just like, let me ask y'all this: do any of y'all two step when you hear just like any portion of his songs, or you just like this uttering disgust?
I'm a firm believer that in
I
compartmentalizing
mean,
the
just
artist
being
from the art.
honest.
Like for me, the artist and the art is two totally separate things. I can view the art without necessarily having to put the entire life of the artist on the art, but I understand people who can't either. And I
Yeah.
definitely will hear certain shit in songs and be like, nah, let me turn this off. So, but there are still some songs that I know for a fact are about adults and it just resonates. Y'all can't take away my entire childhood. Like this shit sucks for real. Y'all are taking away my entire, like from 8 years old to 28 years old music catalog. Music is the only thing that jogs my memory to certain shit. You know what I'm saying? And in regards to this comment, Christina said the conscience is inescapable, regardless of the person's belief. That's why Caesar's law is not the final say. And I agree with that. But we all saw Pinocchio, and the nigga do not have to listen to his conscience. And you see everything that motherfucker went through while not listening to the conscience and never once saying, damn, I should have listened to my conscience. Never once. All the way through his goddamn to the whale, all the way through.
Right, but back to what you were saying though, like it's you have two opposing views. Lovey, what's your
Emma,
good evening?
I feel like you're right about the music being woven into so many things. Like my first little stepping lesson in Chicago was to some R. Kelly music. And I very rarely hear it now when I'm out. However, it was a lot. Like I knew some things, I felt like some things, but the music was still good and it still played a part, you know? So if I hear it, am I gonna do it? I probably am gonna, I don't know. I don't know. I may listen and I may turn it off. It just really depends. I don't know.
You
I
can't
very
do it.
rarely hear it and I don't outright play the music, but
Algorithms be algorithming. So
right.
sometimes it pops up and I don't always turn it off. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
lie. Like I respect Tay where she's like, nah, I can't. But I
Like,
just
it's just she looks cussed.
look, I just posted a thing earlier where it was like the older people, the older
Mhm.
generation say, oh, this hip hop is so violent. And then it was like Johnny Cash. I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Like
Right.
it's so many. So you're never gonna listen to Michael Jackson. You're never gonna listen to Prince. You're never gonna listen to Diddy. You're never gonna listen to nobody because everybody got something with them. So I'ma just keep my
Right.
music and say fuck these niggas that did this shit. The music don't have nothing to do with that to me. If that makes,
Mm.
I hope I'm not canceled for that. But if I am, fuck y'all.
No, that's interesting. That's hard to do. I mean, we have like three opposing perspectives. We have Tay, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I can't do it. In my mind, when I hear him, automatically all I see is his abuse. I replay the the interviews with those girls and the details that they gave and all of that. Like anytime I hear anything regarding him, that's all that comes to my mind. So I can't really enjoy his music. It's just it he literally makes me sick. And I can't see myself jamming knowing that while he was writing this song, he had a little girl locked up in the basement, or knowing, right before he wrote this song, he pissed on an adolescent girl. Like that's where my mind goes. So I can't really rock with it.
So I guess I have a question. Um, and it's actually beautiful that we're all like relatively musical here. Take away the lyrics. Could if just the tonality or just the instrumental came, would that be fair or cancel the whole idea?
I'll put it this way. You know how big of an MJ fan I am my whole life. I can't listen to You Are Not Alone. It makes me sick
I almost
because he
laughed.
wrote it.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
I almost laughed. I'm sorry because I had to think about the
Like,
lyrics.
oh, yeah, I can't rock with it. And I know I can hear people with the, the irony. It's MJ and what he was, accused of, blah, blah, blah. But, at the end of the day, it was all hearsay with MJ. We saw it with our own two eyes with R. Kelly.
But okay, but R. Kelly is the only one we saw with our own two eyes. Because if you really think about what you're saying, is what videos did we see of Diddy doing anything to anybody? And then you have a whole culture in the 80s and 90s of not believing the child, which is exactly what happened in the MJ courthouse. That baby got up there and said that man touched me, and they was like, nah, he didn't. Shut the fuck up, baby.
And then it was discovered that his parents put him up to it.
After the fact, though. But while it was happening in the courtroom, not one black person said, you know what I'm saying? Not one black person was like, yeah, he did that shit for real. Not one. But that baby got up there and said what he said, and it didn't matter, is my point. Same way it didn't matter in the Diddy. Like, music is so important. And there was a comment, hey, oh, y'all, fly just almost went up my nose. Lord have mercy.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, this just struck a memory of a clip with MJ and how he explains how they use music and songs to brainwash the masses. It's very true. It's very true. And yet the music is not going to leave me. And I would be left in a void without certain songs. I don't know how to explain it. Like, okay, no, I do know how to explain it. When you have so many repressed memories like I do, and music is the only way to soothe the trauma enough to get the sweet from the bittersweet memory, it sucks that the people attached to the music are doing this shit, but I'm not going to take that away from myself. I don't know anybody that can sit here and say if Tina Turner and Ike Turner's Rolling on the River version came on right now, they're not going to listen to it, knowing how much she got beat in the making of that song. It's as much as it's horrifying to me. And I want to make this clear. These allegations of the people that we're talking about are horrifying to me. Music saved my life.
Same.
Yeah, so it's so
same. I named my kids after music. I totally get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Right, Christina. And we're all going to think of something in regards to these things that we've heard and seen in these court cases. But I want us to remember the bigger picture in this, which is that the industry, Hollywood, all of that, the Richie Riches, 1%, whatever you want to call them, are fucked up out here. Like they're doing some wild shit, and a lot of them aren't caught yet. So at least we know about one more. It's like they're putting Hollywood on the sex offender list right now. And I appreciate them for it. You know what I mean? Like this shit is wild. We got so much shit going on in the world, but because this is us, and like I said, this is our heart. Puffy ruled the airwaves from what, 92 to now? Like I can't even. I don't know, man. This shit is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? And yes, Rosemary, tone is frequency too. So how do you get away from it? You just completely divest yourself of what is a part of the fabric of you?
No.
Because of somebody else's bad behavior. That's not fair.
Well, for me, I don't need that music. Like it was a big part of my childhood as well. You know, I believed I could fly and all that shit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't need that. There's plenty other music to make me feel good the same way that did back then. But now, yeah, I can't rock with it.
Cool.
I can't.
That's what's up. I mean, and I think William, I can't hear you, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I can hear you, but it's low.
It's not low.
Turn it up.
Yeah.
The fact that this motherfucker gonna choose what speaker I'm gonna talk out of is a goddamn problem.
Hilarious.
But I I think I it's hard because I mean a person, and this is not just to anybody. Like you could say, just certain singers, you can kind of write them off and forget about them. But you're talking about like certain people intentionally, for whatever reason, that's their story, they put themselves so in depth to, culturally who we are. Like and I know that that might not be for black women to see from us, but a lot of times the suit game when it comes to modern society, that comes from like we know that Jay-Z's on the hot seat, but we saw the suit game get reenacted and redeveloped because of these black men that came in the fitteds and came in the long tees, now become what we perceive and see as distinguished.
It's almost like they took the
So
dapper,
what?
did it
So
for
what do
us.
we do now? Like, and I understand where Tay is coming from, like 100%. I also struggle with the idea of like, okay, I can listen to it without any lyrics. I'm not going to go ahead and buy an R. Kelly album, or I'm not going to go ahead and, say, hey Siri or okay Google, play Two Steppin' by R. Kelly or play. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But I'm not going to say that naturally. Siri, I wasn't talking to you.
Oh,
She like,
No,
bitch, I'm gonna
bitch.
play it
You
anyway.
literally said her name.
No, but
he
I'm
said
not
I'm
gonna.
gonna do it.
But are you? So do you call somebody a hypocrite when it's like they can't help themselves? It's like when you hear that do 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 and no lyrics, no music, and they like do do do, and it just puts them in that mode in that moment of nostalgia. Are they hypocritical for that?
But when you start hearing just the music, you're gonna sing the lyrics because you know the song.
So I get it, but does that put you in the realm of hypocrisy?
Me, if I were to do
No,
that,
not
yes,
not.
I would consider myself a hypocrite.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, hypothetically speaking, the reality of it is everybody has their stance on these things. And I appreciate everybody's point of view because it does help me to shape mine a little further. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Equally, because it's like it is a challenge for me, and I'm not saying anybody's wrong. It's a for real a challenge.
the reason
It's
why I
like
stopped is because I wanted to pull that up because she's right. Like, we have to understand. So,
yeah,
understanding what we understand about Trey songs. Are you walking out at every function that plays a Trey songs song? You know what I mean?
right,
Understanding what we know because it's not just about these people who have these high profile cases. We know
right,
a lot about a lot. There is a lot of understood things in our community that are let go. So at this point, my solution would be advocate for the fact that we got to stop this shit from happening across the board.
yeah,
Not take them to court and care, about the charges, but see something, say something. Like it was a lot of witnesses to a lot of shit, and nobody said anything. Is where the power comes in. Like see something, say something, regardless of who it is, so people can stop being hurt.
right. And for me, it's really about having the conversation. I it's hard to hear, and it's on either side. I can only imagine for y'all, but it's hard to hear, um, the relative experiences of what we're seeing today. To be like, oh, I dealt with this too, or I've experienced this on this capacity, and this is how I view it. It's hard to deal with that. It's hard. I can only imagine if somebody would be able to say, okay, if you want to know my story, blah, here it is. I wouldn't want that for nobody. But at the end of the day, I think that really having like the conversation of like, okay, I, I understand that some things can be subjective and some things can be looked at in the eye of a needle if we so choose to do that. But at some point, you gotta be like, okay, that's just downright fucked up. And at the end of it being fucked up, you can't get no further fucked up than what you're doing right now. And not to say that there is not another realm of fucked up, but you've exceeded the capacity of fucked up that makes this not a conversation. We got to talk about how fucked up this is so that this doesn't happen again. So I'm in 100% agreement. It's not just talking about the problem. It's like, all right, can we all agree that this is fucked up, and this is not the money. You can look at the money, you can look at the fame, you can look at the power, but this isn't life. Can we at least agree with that?
But it is life. It's been life.
To what means and to an end.
Who knows? But I know that
Mm-hmm.
we're in this situation because of how this case turned out. What about this case makes victims want to speak up? That's why it took so long for this to even happen. People don't speak up because they know things aren't going to change. Things aren't going to change because people are on the payroll. Aubrey O'Day had been screaming this shit for years, decades. She'd been telling it. Nobody listened to her. Diddy threatened her. And it took Cassie. So if like, it's hard to pinpoint where we can start advocating for this because it's literally a whole construct. It's an entire construct built on money and power and
It's
fear.
an organization.
Exactly. And that's how we're seeing the very men who are not fit to be leaders in leadership positions, from Diddy to Trump, to everyone that Trump has appointed in his office. They keep getting away with it because they have the money, they have the power, and nobody believes when somebody says what the truth is. Nobody believes it. This world tells us every day that they don't give a fuck about us. Anytime one of us speaks up in that regard, the world continues to do things to show us that it does not care. And this case pinpoints it. It's literally pinpointed it. Them folks in the band was talking about how crazy that nigga was. Aubrey was talking about how crazy that nigga was. Dawn was talking about how crazy that nigga was. And it took a videotape of him stomping a mud hole in Cassie to blow this shit out the water, and he still got off. So where do we begin as far as advocating? How do we take down this power structure? Especially when the world doesn't believe women.
That I believe has been kind of the looming question. Like it's hard. I mean, and I'm going to speak as me as a human and also as a man. It's hard to be like, well, let me in experience, I didn't know that a certain gentleman had a certain suffering, and which resulted him in jail. Had nothing to do with me. I knew him, but I didn't know that that's what he suffered with because he kept it hidden. Even from a person that has like a relatively discerning eye. Anyone with a discerning eye, he was able to hide that from. So he had his issues that inevitably led him. It was like gratifying while it lasted, not going into detail, but it ended. And now his life, he's alive. He's going to celebrate his birthdays with no freedom. He's going to celebrate his life as it has no construct of choice. So, and while I agree with what you're saying, Tay, and I agree with what you're saying, I guess the question is like, all right, once the villain Is Cage? Do we kill the villain?
What do we do with cancer when it's discovered?
Kill the person.
Hmm.
We kill the cancer. We try to.
Mhm.
Same difference.
Hmm. We're chestnut checkers, y'all.
Yeah.
We're going to move right into the segue, and listen.
Um,
I have no opinion far greater or lesser than it is a perspective. I see it. I understand it. With
so
that said, we're going to get to the avenue of friendship. Christina, go
no,
ahead.
we,
Kristen,
we
go
had
ahead.
bad other current events. We got sidetracked.
Oh
Really,
shit, there was
look,
more of them.
yeah, the industries in California and the West Coast are flopping. There's nobody on the farms. There's nobody in the hotels. There's nobody in the restaurants. There's nobody. Like when you talk about the political takedown here too, here everywhere. I ain't heard firework the first because my Mexican brothers ain't out here popping off like they normally would. Like,
Wait, because the factory blew up. Did you see that shit? The firework factory
Whole
blew up.
warehouse. Yo, I'm gonna need y'all to
It's
go
been a
ahead.
mess.
I'm gonna need everybody when
I
y'all
ain't
get a
heard a peep.
chance. Hashtag chestnut checkers and hashtag Idaho. Just Google Idaho and you'll hear it first. I was privy to some news. Shit's going down in Idaho.
yeah,
I thought all I knew about Idaho was some potatoes. I mean, the fireworks and getting detonated up there. This is the second bomb explosion I done heard about some fireworks going off. Motherfucking, they shooting. And I didn't even know this. I didn't know this. It just came up. They're shooting
the
firemen,
firefighters.
the firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
The
That kid
fuck is going
with the
on? What?
MAGA pants.
Mhm.
Idaho, come on now.
Um,
Just give us our
Well,
potatoes.
are you really surprised? Like those are the type of places where those people.
No. What I am saying is that Idaho, what you competing for?
I don't think they compete, and I just think they being Idahoans.
is that how
Yeah,
you?
Next current event. I didn't know how to process that moment. Like
Right?
there was a whole moment. It took a moment.
Idahoans.
Kristen, come, let's go.
Listen,
Current event.
that was basically it. They still talking about the ceasefire over in Gaza. Iran said fuck y'all because we about to start making uranium products anyways. Y'all missed. Um, yeah. Oh, up in Philly, the fucking row homes collapsed. Like 4 or 5 houses just fell apart in the middle of Philly. Like, yo,
The whole fucking concrete melted. And this shit was dominoes.
everything came.
Dominoes.
Yeah, so that's the current events for the week. I'm sorry we got caught up in Diddy. But that Diddy is a lot. And
that's
we
the biggest story.
need
It's a
to
culture.
more discussions on the solution towards a compromise between what she's saying and what I'm saying. Like, because I really do think that's the two different segments on that subject.
But and the thing is about it, I get it. Like from both being outwardly not being affected, but understanding the effect. Like I get it. I mean,
Mhm.
you have one that's just like where I would expect a Christian to be passive or be aggressive about it and be like burn the bitch down. The one that's normally the passive one is like burn the bitch down. And
Mhm.
you're like, wait a minute, but I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah,
It's a lot of silent suffering that's going on. But let's talk
absolutely.
about it. We talking about this real tricky subject for me.
For everybody, I think. For
It's an
everybody.
awkward silence. We getting into it.
This week on Chestnut Checkers, we are getting into the very, like he said, tricky subject of friendship. And the idea of what that means nowadays, what it means to
Yeah.
each of us. But yeah, let's go. I got y'all with some videos real quick because you know.
Roll that footage.
Alistair, welcome to the team.
What's going on? Sometimes we are willing to help people, friends. We are friends to people who are not friends to us because we are not actively competing with them. Which brings me back to the original thought. You don't know who your friends are until they're offered the opportunity, or they can identify an opportunity to assist you with advancement in your life, and if they do it or not. And a lot of these people that we have commonalities with, that we give the label of friends, are simply our competitors, and we don't know it because we're not competing with them.
Thoughts?
I Anybody else first? No? Okay. Um, I grew up on a track, and I grew up on a track where it had 8 lanes, individual lanes, and it's very easy for me to get in my lane and stay in my lane. But also, it's a weird rule on track where you have relays when people are in your lanes and are sharing the baton and sharing the same thing, then pass it around to the finish line. So it's really difficult for me when I'm like, all right, I call you something, and when I put you in that place, I expect you to be there. That's something that I would have to reconcile in my own self. Either you're in the place where you said you're going to be, or I go back to what I'm trained to do, which is in my lane. The time that it takes me to get from start to finish, I'll measure it from there. So I got what she was saying, but my sports journey wasn't resolved like that.
Hmm.
I agree with what she's saying. um, I believe a lot of friendships nowadays are entered into with the concept of what can I get from this? What what am I going to get out of this? And for me, that in friendship, for me, that isn't enough. I prefer friendships like that of when we were adolescents. You know, when you're 5 or 6 years old and you find your person and it's just like me and you against the world. That type of friendship. Like there's nothing that I wouldn't do for you. I know there's nothing you wouldn't do for me. And if possible, we're gonna do it together. We're gonna everything, you know what I'm saying, is gonna be together. Little kids don't think about what they can get out of it. They just think about being with my friend. I just want to be in my friend's atmosphere and be in their energy and soak it up because that's my friend. And I think as adults, we've been tainted by the world, and a lot of us view friendships and relationships in general as like transactional, either transactional or, like she said in a video, competitive. You know, they're there to see what they can get from you, from your energy, from your resources, whatever. It's about what can I get from this? And to me, that's not friendship.
Okay. I can see that. I don't think that friendship can be entered into like that. So you're absolutely right. But it starts at the start, in my opinion. Like if that's your mindset that that was never a friend in the first place, in my mind, like friend means something special. It's not that it's not there. It just means more than I think how people use it.
Right. Like to me, friends, my I treat my friends like family. To me, my friends are my family. If I consider you friend, then I'm gonna consider you in everything I do. When my family has holidays or what have you, I'm gonna always consider you as part of it or want you there. I consider my friends family and treat them as such. Like if I consider you friend, There's nothing that I would do for my mom or my sister or brother that I wouldn't do for you, because I care about your well-being just as much. So for me, friendship is family. It's chosen family. Like, you saw me, I saw you, and we chose to be here in this space together. We didn't have to. We're not related or anything. This wasn't forced upon us. We chose to be here together. So to me, you're my family because you chose me. You saw this wreck and you chose me. And I appreciate that. So I consider my friends family.
So we have a comment that says friends equals crabs in a barrel.
Wow.
I know a lot
Good
of
for
people
you.
think like that though. Tay was
They
just kind of
do.
saying a similar thing. Like it's an albatross more than something of an upliftment.
But it's depending on who's in your circle.
My
I mean,
circle,
if your friends make you feel like you trapped in a barrel, then get some new friends. Because I've seen friend circles where it's nothing but upliftment. It's nothing but encouragement. It's nothing but instant, when you need me, I'm there. Matter of fact, even if you don't need me, I'm there. I saw a video the other day, Taraji was talking about friendship. Taraji B. Henson, and she was like, my friends will pull up on me. She said, my girlfriend one time, she said, I was in Vancouver and my girl was in DC. And we talked on the phone, and she said she didn't like the way my hello sounded. Just my hello. She said, my friend pulled up on me in Vancouver. She said, I just needed to lay eyes on you. I needed to see for myself that you were okay. That's friendship. That's friendship.
okay. I agree. It's definitely support and acceptance.
Lovey and Alice, they're kind of quiet over there.
Well, I'm quiet because I agree. Um, I feel like if it's about competition and stepping on each other to get to a destination, or smiling or being in joy when you see someone's demise, it can't be friendship. Friendship is the family that you choose. And so it should mean more. I feel like it is handed around a little too flagrant, a little too easily, without any time or investment. Every friendship has its tests because obviously it's a journey, and it does a few things, and you find out a little more about your friend on that journey,
I,
whether it's a ride or die thing or that wasn't really a friendship. You learn a lot. I'm sorry, Bill, go ahead.
oh no, you're good, baby. I was just reading the comment, and she says she believes in categories of friendship. So, you know,
Absolutely.
you does anybody agree or disagree with that? Like, do you have a
Yeah,
best friend versus your other friends? Do you have a
I agree. And I
Of
honestly
course,
think we should
definitely
go back
has.
to not calling just everyone friend. I mean, we should begin using the terms acquaintance,
oh yeah, we're gonna get into
coworker,
that as well. Absolutely.
um, not everybody deserves the moniker of
Friendship
friend,
title.
but
Mhm.
I do believe in categories too. You know, there
Yeah.
are platonic friends, there are romantic friends, there are
Or
business friends, there are, you know what I mean? So yeah, I agree, Christina.
like I tell my kids, everybody is not your friend. It's plain and simple. And I think, like Lovey said, the word friend is thrown around very easily now, like the word love.
That's a bullet.
It's
Sometimes that's a curse word.
Right. Look, that's a bullet. That's not a throw.
word.
Right. That's a bullet. That's not a fucking throw. But yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's
Pew,
too
pew,
many
pew.
people that's trying to be friends when they shouldn't even be. It's a lot of envy amongst men. You could be doing good and your motherfucking friend can motherfucking just look at you in so much disgust that it just makes them want to bring you down.
But I don't think as much as that, like they're trying to be friends, as much as they're trying to gain something out of this under the guise of friendship. You know what I mean? And
But
that's
people
what
could be
you know,
your
we were
friend
saying about the
because they
team.
see you at your lowest. They see you at your lowest, and misery love company, so they're gonna want to be your friend.
Right. There's
Once
still
you
there's
get
still
up
an
out of,
aptitude of friendship there. Like that aptitude of friendship, how y'all connect and how y'all like there's like that friendship. Like if I'm friends with somebody in a high time and I'm doing well and everything is positive and life filled, then that is a friend. If I'm in suffering and going through misery and like Alistair said, and I was trying to say, but I was muted. Misery does love company, and there's like a depth and a whole dimension of people that exist there too that become friends. I guess we call it now, trauma bonding or whatever the case may be, but it's still a thing.
We not doctors. They still friends.
They
And
friends, right?
yeah,
They're friends. They're
yeah.
they're still friends at the end of the day. And I agree with that. Like that notion that there that notion right there, Tay, and Alistair respond. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So with that being said, I wanted to go into the next video, which basically talks about exactly what we were just talking about. But y'all see, hold on. Sorry, y'all. My computer's bugging, but I got you.
And if I ask you to go somewhere and you say, "Girl, I ain't got no money right now," come on, I got you. And I'm gonna put $1,000 in your pocket so you got some money when this is all over with. You are my friend. If I ask you to go somewhere, you like, I don't really got nothing to wear. I'm tired of wearing my clothes. Come get in my closet and see what you can find. Okay. If I ask you, are you okay? And you're not okay, you are my friend. This is a safe place. Tell me what is wrong. How can we fix it together? If I call you and I notice you not being yourself, you are my friend. I am instantly going to say, talk to me. What's up? I don't want to hear, no, friend, I don't want to be like that. Be like that. Because why are you going through something and you're not comfortable telling me? You are my friend. I love you. And it's not nothing that I wouldn't do for you. So if I call you or if you need me, call me. You're my friend. That's what a friend is. Have a good day.
I think she touched on a lot of different aspects of what being able to trust someone as a friend looks like. I can count how many times that actually happens though, so I understand all sides of it, you know what I mean? So yeah.
I think friendship is a lot like therapy in a way that it only works if you're 100% honest. It only survives if you're honest and forthright. Like, just kind of like what she was saying in the video. it people are seers, and sometimes it can be seen that something's off, and you denying it doesn't help. It doesn't help you, it doesn't help our relationship, it doesn't help. So I think honesty is the key to any type of relationship, but especially a friendship. You know what I'm saying? If I'm your friend, there's nothing you can't talk to me about. There's nothing you should lie to me about. There's nothing, am I going to judge you? Probably. But we going to work through this because you my dog. Like, it's me and you against this thing. But be honest about it.
Al, Lovey, Will.
I'm going to read this comment and then finish my thought. Nowadays, people are posers. They'll use friendships and then talk shit about you to someone else. Yeah, but you helped me, but then throw it in my face when you get upset with me. I'm just gonna read that and I guess clear my thought out. Um, I do believe that there was a previous question: can you outgrow friendships? And I believe that if it's based on disingenuous notions, then yes, you can. However, once you get to the realm of trueness, then I don't believe that you can. I think that those that waver and get a little bit fallen behind, true friendship holds that person accountable. Like you're slipping. But I also believe that knowing who's in your village makes more of an impact than the right quote unquote motivation that you can ever give to a person. You can often say the right things, but it's the wrong audience. What do we say all the time? What do y'all say to me all the time? Know your audience.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean you could mean well all day, but at the end, but when it all boils down to it, is this person able to receive what you're saying? And are you accommodating enough to put you aside and think and see about that person? Here's where I've often found, and I talked to my therapist about it. And I actually have a question for y'all. We often say that we're not responsible for a person's healing, right? Can we agree with that?
Mhm.
But we're friends, and friends stick closer than a brother does. So don't you have some responsibility?
You would think.
I wouldn't say stick closer to it than a brother, but
Hmm.
like the word old, like the old saying says, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't get teach that horse to drink.
Right.
I mean, if that person don't want to soak up what we're trying to tell that person, who am I to keep saying it? I'm only gonna
Right.
go but so far.
Right. So here's my objection, right? How, and this is what I guess I was explaining before, where you're trying to get them to understand your point of view. When are you friend to see, hey, they're not understanding my point of view. They're trying my point of view, but they're not understanding my point of view. So maybe let me understand their point of view.
Hmm.
Let's just say this. If their point of view is always seen and they keep fucking up, what are you gonna do?
That's a hypothetical. Have you taken the time to see their point of view?
If their point of view is always seen and that person is being called on it plenty of times, but they choose not to see their point of view or where we're trying to get to, where we're trying to get to, what else can that person do? As a friend, I'm just going to be like, you know what, friend?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you got it. This is, you want to keep going down this road? I'm going to just step back.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I guess my question is this: are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right.
All right, I'm left-handed, and if you're teaching me something right-handed, and I'm like, I understand what you're doing, and it makes sense, but I can't do it with my right hand. Do you notice that I'm not right-handed, that I'm in fact left-handed, and then you begin to develop that, or do you carry on your thought process?
Nah, you definitely try to help that person that's lefty.
I get what you're saying as well. I also get that some people don't want to be helped. But also there's some people that, again, there's this side of the brain and then there's that side of the brain. And you're like, why aren't they getting it? But a friend maybe could say, let me just kind of see how you're seeing it for a moment. Shit, you can't see out your fucking right eye. That's the problem. You talk about you can see shit, you can't see shit out your right eye. Then what do you do?
So I think that it just depends on the type of person you are. I think we really are discussing personality differences at this point.
Sure.
There are some people who are more willing to back off. Now, I've had friends for 30 some odd years, and we'll have a fight and we won't talk for 3 months, and then we cool again like nothing ever happened. Sometimes it takes a break. Sometimes you do have to back off to cool off or whatever if it gets to that point. But you also, on William's point, have to try and see it from their point of view if you want to help. If you are trying to help and you can't see it from their
that part. That's it.
If that makes sense. Like if you have to, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what you're saying, both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like
this is just solely isolated.
Right.
This is not in the generalization of friendship. This is just on the realm of, am I, quote unquote, and Alistair, he definitely spoke his point about it. Are you your brother's keeper? He was like, to a certain degree, and I respect what he said and I understand it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you become that, you know what I mean? Different conversation. That's all I was asking. I respect what you were saying. That was pretty dope.
So yeah, we also talked about like the levels of friendship. So I have Lovey actually found this video on the psychology of what best friends is supposed to look like. So I'm sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties, but the comment came in at the same time. A true friend will listen to understand and not listen to reply. Do y'all believe that that's true? That a true friend isn't listening just to have something to say back?
I mean, that's basic in conversation, period. It should be anyway.
Right.
It should be.
That's like the standard.
Mm-hmm. And we have this one right here.
Thank you, Ron.
If you're not listening to understand, then what do you know what I mean? If you're not listening to understand, then you're just listening to get your point across.
That's that's just talking for real. Talking with silence.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, listening to understand is imperative for any level of conversation, every level of conversation.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
sorry. No, you got it.
Facts about best friends. 1. If a friendship lasts longer than 7 years, psychologists say it will last a lifetime. 2. Never worry about losing a friend, because a real friend can never be lost. 3. Friendship is not about who you spend the most time with. It's about who you have the best time with. 4. A strong friendship doesn't need daily conversation. It doesn't always need togetherness. 5. Best friends are people who make your problems their problems, just so you don't have to go through them alone. 6. A true friend is someone who sees the pain in your eyes while everyone else believes the smile on your face. 7. Only a true friend will tell you to your face what others are saying behind your back. 8. Sometimes being with your best friend is all the therapy you need. Send this to your best friend.
Do y'all think those things are true?
I do.
It's literally what I just said. Friendship like therapy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I played it like that, because y'all was segueing the hell out of that video. like I said, to me, like friendship means things. Words have meaning, like we always say, right? And knowing how to spoke is important around here and always has been. And so I think that, as Tay brought up earlier, the idea of friendship versus acquaintances versus people I know versus play cousins versus chosen family, best friend, there's definitely levels to it. And just psychologically speaking, those people who accept you for exactly who you are, good, bad, or indifferent, are what I consider friends.
No, I mean that Joker hit home, for a lot of reasons. Like you look at, I mean, I guess for me, being able to experience like, all right, this is who you are. This is who people view you to be, and also there's just that desire to, I want to be a part of your growth, and that desire to be a part of your growth without um ill intent. You know what I mean? Like I want to see you become who you're supposed to be. Nothing more, nothing less. I think that type of trust is very hard to find that nowadays. I think it's attainable, but I like Tate said, it takes a level of transparency. It takes a level of belief, and I think even more so is, it takes a level of steadfast accountability. You know what I mean? Not only to what you're doing, but also, I just fucked my whole brim up. But not only to what you're doing, but what to your neighbor, or what you call your friend. Like let's say your friend and and you have a moment where you disagree. Like me and Alistair can disagree right now. He could bring up shit from my past. I can bring up shit from his past. Or we can focus on right now, what are we doing? And if what we're not doing is lining up to what we're saying, then we need to have a different conversation.
So Rosemary said, a point of view will always be one-sided, and no one can see that view if you're not walking it. Um, I agree with the first part. Like everybody's point of view is individual, but I do have spaces in my life where I'm seen, and so maybe they are walking it with me. I don't know how you would judge that, but there is a way to be seen, and it's definitely not in red.
Right, right. I was told this a little while before, and I was reminded of it recently. Everybody doesn't deserve to see you naked.
Oh,
Hmm.
Like they don't
or do they
deserve to.
want
Like as beautiful as you may be, or as beautiful as you may feel, or as beautiful as you may perceive, everybody doesn't deserve to see that. And that reserve is meant for that intimate time. And if your intimate time is shared with everybody, then guilty. If your intimate time is shared with everybody, then you have to consider how you're spending your time, how
to?
you're extending yourself, how you're broadcasting what it is that ultimately, and I can thank so many people close to me, how you're broadcasting things coming back to you. Because again, like I think Kristen said it before the hour, karma, if you believe in karma, whether you believe in it or whether you subscribe to it, karma is what it is. And if you act a fool later or before, then the repercussions come later, and you have to live with the results. You have to. You don't have to just die with them, but you have to acknowledge that this is what I did and this is the result of what I've done. After that, unpack it. Take your time and unpack it. There was somebody that wrote, be a friend. To be
Yeah,
a friend, or to have a friend, you have to be a friend.
mhm. I agree. I agree. So this the comment says
Oh,
does
so
a friendship ever respect a person's?
Fat Boy, I have a question for you. Are you friendly to people based on how they treat you? Or are you just a friendly person? And we're guilty of being both. And both of them are good things. Sometimes human says, for me, I don't want to be a good person. I want to be a dickhead. I want people to finally feel how I feel. That doesn't make me a bad person, but who I'm portraying it to could perceive that to be not so good to everybody. So now I have to consider, do I have safekeeping? So yes, respect of person is very, very crucial. I can't make a hammer do what a screwdriver does. I gotta respect the screwdriver and respect the hammer. They can get the nail in the wood, but I gotta respect them both for what they do.
That I can agree with because everybody's individual, and that goes back to being seen as well. Friendship is not cookie cutter.
No.
It's really not.
It's really not. We meet people in so many different places in life that you can't expect to be the same way with one friend to another. If in fact it's friendship, if it's acquaintanceship, then yeah, that can be very carbon copy. If it's just hey, how you doing? All right, now that's we do that all the time. But sadly, people would
Anybody.
call that friendship nowadays. And I think that this comment, says it like being friendly versus actually being a friend and the tenets behind what it takes to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's more to it than just gabbing and talking shit about people and where we going this weekend. It's way more to it. And I think that's what that first video was leading into as well. Like this idea that people call you their friend so they can say, come with me so that they can have somebody to do a boomerang picture with at the table, as opposed to really giving a fuck that your life is in shambles. You know? So
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people innocently need to feel better. They want to feel better and they're finding ways to feel better. But, that enjoyment aspect is, might be a little bit different and something that is a little bit deeper that requires that friendship and that companionship. I think Tay touched base on it. Lovey was nodding her head in affirmation. It takes that vulnerability, like to say, hey, this hurts. And can I trust you to be there for me to say, even this hurts? I haven't had too much of that in my life, but that's something that I've learned. Like,
yeah,
can you honestly say, like, I've been hitting my ribs a lot. I could take a body shot, but I got clocked in my jaw. Shit, that hurt. Can I still keep the same composure as if I got hit in my ribs?
depends on which time it is, I guess. You build up a tough skin regardless.
you, and
If
can I
you-
without lashing? That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, but I think that's what I was pointing out earlier. Like, it's only so many times I'm gonna let you hit me before I
Mm-hmm.
either get the fuck away from you or I fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
you're not gonna keep.
Friendships are always good until you have to call somebody on their shit
Mm-hmm.
and they're not taking it correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it's crazy because everyone, like, your friendship could be, loosely or solely based on the fact that you're like that, you tell it like it is or whatever. But as soon as it's directed toward, the one you love, it's like, you
Oh my
know,
god,
offense.
how
And
dare
it's
you? This
right.
Mhm.
It's
is
taken
every
as
day,
offense
but not
instead
to
of,
me.
but it's like, nah, I love you. Like, I want you to be better. What the fuck?
Right.
Like, what's
And
going on?
I'm always the one like I don't care. Like if I do some bullshit, call me on my shit, cool. If I see some bullshit, I'm always gonna say something about it. I mean, I had a situation where my motherfucking people was talking about somebody else. I'm like, bro, like we don't even need to talk about that. I mean, what you talking about me for? If you got something to say that shit straight to their face. I mean, because that just made me look at you like shit. I mean, if you talking about them, I mean, like, what are you saying behind my back? Like,
That
I mean,
Alistair, that's the part that be scaring the shit out of me.
some people don't even take that shit properly. Like, damn, bro, like, what do you
Mhm.
mean? Like, I mean what I mean. Like, I mean, if you got something to say to that person, say it to them. I mean, it's people just take things differently than how it should be. I mean, people think, oh, since you're my friend, I mean, you shouldn't be able to you shouldn't call me on my shit or something like that. No, if I'm your friend, I'm gonna call you on your shit.
Nah,
But
that's
you
what
know,
it's
that's
supposed to
ego.
be.
That's all based in ego. You know what I mean? It's like, who are you to tell me about my shit? I know your shit too. Well, yeah, you do, but right now you're fucking up.
Right.
So
And
that's what's on the table.
And
that
now
I
you're a
think
bad person and everything like that. Like,
and
all
I
right, bro.
think
It
and
is.
I think that yeah, right. I think that for me it's like once it gets to that realm, it's like seeing the space that the person is in at that point. Like for me, whether wrong or right, if you were in Alistair in a situation where irrationality steps in, what am I going to deal with first? The truth of the matter or the irrational behavior? What do you deal with?
Oh, you asking me the rational behavior.
Right. So you deal with the irrational behavior. Oftentimes, people, once the truth is given, and then as a result, the irrational behavior happens, they like to say, hey, let's now continually smack the hammer of truth down rather than now let's deal with the behavior. The behavior is the more important thing in the moment, although the truth is the truth. You're not going to escape that. But oftentimes we love a person so much that we can't quite decipher this is the behavior of a person versus this is the person. This is a learned behavior, but I may not need this type of hammer to break it. I got a hammer in my back. Give me a minute. Let me go ahead and grab it. And we go ahead and crush this belief that you may have that you're not enough or that you're less than or that you're a victim of whatever or that you're a tyrant or that no, you're having a moment. And I have a big enough hammer to say stay the fuck still for a moment and let me talk to you. That was so dope. My brim hit it. But stay still for a moment as a friend and let me talk to you. You're not fucked up, but you're fucking up.
And I think that communication is key in all of the
At,
ships, right?
right, right.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
at some point, we do have to say, hey, we can't always just run away from the problem.
Mm-hmm.
These things need to be discussed, and they need to be discussed toward with the solution in mind, not just a reason to yell back and forth at each other. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it becomes this thing where when we talk about friendship versus people we just hang with or people we just know, there has to be this idea that if there ever is a problem, it's a solvable problem. Like I try to be solution minded, but
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things in my lexicon that are unforgivable. So those will be the things where I will walk away. Those will be the things where my view of you changes, and so our relationship changes. I wanted to use this idea of what we're talking about as far as how people view themselves in friendship to segue into our next video, because I really want to get to this, and we are already basically at the 9 o'clock hour. So here we go.
I love the suspense.
I'm sorry.
You okay? Yeah, you know, life is tough, but sorry, I have to go help my friend out. Whoa, what about you? You're going through a tough time right now. Don't you think you should be focusing on yourself? You're right, but when I see someone hurting, I don't know what it is. I just can't ignore pain. Seems like you're having an easy time ignoring your own. Yeah, but she's my friend. No, that's not your friend. If I had a friend who I knew was struggling financially, I wouldn't then ask them for money. If I had a friend who I knew was hurt and needed to heal, I wouldn't ask them to heal me. I would go out of my way to heal them. Just because you want to be a good person doesn't mean you have to burn yourself to keep others warm. Sometimes you're just out of firewood, and that's okay. You can take the time to gather the wood that you need for yourself, but if someone sees you out and still asks you to keep them warm, that's not a good person. That's a parasite. And let's be honest, those types of people, they don't actually want to get better. They just want your attention. They just want your pity so that they can feel like a victim. Wait, so are you saying that they're using me? Honestly, you're probably using each other. You get to feel like a good person without fixing any of your own problems, and she gets to feel like a victim without fixing any of hers. But it's killing you. And it's time for you to cut that off.
What do y'all think?
Ouch.
That was a tough one, definitely. I like him. He always has good points of view. Lovey.
I like the reflection of both points of view and taking that time for yourself and recognizing when you have it and when you don't. One of the things I want to say about all of the videos that we watched today, it solidifies a lot of things in my own belief system. And I'm just speaking from my point of view. In some situations where I had some what or who I considered a friend, and then saw some things where I felt like I didn't have enough, like I'm going through a moment, and then didn't feel that balance of consideration or empathy from that person. It hurt. It hurt. And also in that reflection, it solidifies how I feel about Boo and our relationship as a friend. Like earlier when I said it's a journey, I also mean that in that time period, you learn things about your friend. You learn how they respond to things, how you talk to them, you know, which ways are they work best, or which ways are, you know, they're just gonna get it. We don't all speak the same way. We don't all have the same perception of things. Me and Boo, we agree on most things, but there are some things that we don't agree on. But what I really love about our relationship is our ability to talk about it in freeness. She's all herself and I'm all myself. And she's not ashamed of being her as I'm not ashamed of being me. And that intimacy in that, it's life changing. That's a different type of love where I don't need a mask. I don't need to put on, I don't need to pretend, and neither does she. She's gonna be absolute in her mind. I'm gonna be absolute in mine. And even if we don't agree on it, we at least can talk to each other about exactly what that is and respect each other's point of view. We
That
don't
was
have to argue and yell. We don't have to belittle each other or talk down to each other. Like, we don't even feel that. I don't, in the entire time I've known Boo, it's been so many years. I don't even think have we ever had an argument?
no, never fucking once. But I live by the fact that if there's no disrespect, then there's no disrespect. Like there's
Right.
never been any disrespect. It's always been freedom to just be self. And I love friendships like that. It doesn't always come like that, which is where I think the categories come from. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's so hard to find anybody who thinks exactly like you do. That's not what friendship looks like to me. I'm so happy to grow with my friend.
Right.
We learn new shit every day. We become new people
Every day.
every fucking day.
Every day.
Right, and for me, it doesn't necessarily mean be envious or jealous of it, or like the first video become competitive. What that does mean is that take the time as a human and study the value of what you desire. You know what I mean? If there's a shared exhibition of kindness, then motherfucker learn how to be kind. If there's a exhibition of faithfulness and that's something that you struggle with, then motherfucker, this is a universal term. Male, woman, motherfucker learn how to be faithful. If you have a rash ass tongue and you may sound subtle, but you have a rash ass tongue, then motherfucker learn how to be gentle. If you see something that you desire, don't compete against it. Observe it. Learn. If you don't know what observation means, find a friend who is an observer. They are the greatest of people that you can ever find in your life. They will teach you how to remind yourself to shut the fuck up.
And there could be 70 different tribes in any good size subdivision. Everybody don't have to be your friend. You might not get the vibe from everybody. There's
Absolutely.
never gonna be one her for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had friends for 30 years who don't know me as well as she does.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's the want as a friend to want to see your friend.
Right.
And also within the want to be seen. You know, I think that the first video does point out some great things. Competition is huge, especially amongst women. Y'all don't even understand how much I hear that women don't know how to be friends at all. Like, people say that all the time. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think it's that. I just think that women are in competition with each other very heavily, and they don't admit it. They don't admit it. So it comes off real crazy.
And it's crazy because a lot of men are starting to be like that too.
And it's like, and I'm
A
thankful.
lot
We're
of
we're
men.
we're at 3 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. I'm thankful for this conversation. It was clearing. It was clarity. It was understanding. It was perspective. It was light. It was love. Um, and we were able to learn and gain. And I hope that you guys learned and gained something. I did. But with that being said, we are chestnut checkers, y'all. Like, subscribe,
Share,
share,
follow.
follow. We here. We now have panelists. You know, we still have the curators. But we have panelists, and they are gifted. They're talented. They're unique. What'd you say, Al?
Oh, I ain't say that.
Oh, I
That was
thought somebody.
I just said thank you and we love y'all.
Oh, we have panelists and that are able to, rightfully talk. I told y'all, Kristen said it. We looking for folk that can spoke.
Yeah,
If you can spoke, then come on the show and have some sense to share with us.
because that's
It
what
impacts.
about. Community is about all of these different points of view being shared in the same space with respect, and then following through to community solutions. Like, all of the stuff that we talk about, One Chestnut Checkers is about unifying. I'm so grateful to all of us who come and spend our time sitting here talking to y'all. That's it. Happy Wednesday. I already almost cried
That's
one.
it.
Look, I already almost
And
cried
be
one.
friends, not competitors.
Facts.
That
Be friends, not
Absolutely.
competitors.
We love
Learn how
y'all.
to love.
Have a
Wait,
good. Yeah.
hold up.
Yeah.
Tay.
hey,
No? Oh, come on, mommy. Drum roll.
I mean, this conversation was heavy enough. Sheesh.
I'm sorry, boo. Okay, if you saying no for real, I'm gonna end the stream and we'll talk later. But Oh, well, we would have loved to have a Queen's Gambit, but this was a heavy conversation, and so
No, I don't know.
okay.
So my Queen's Gambit for today, it ain't that deep. It's actually very it's very out there. Freaking this big bullshit bill. People have gotten themselves into something that they didn't know they were getting themselves into. And that's annoying because now it's detrimental to everyone. Everyone. I literally, just before we came on tonight, saw some screenshots of a text message between a supporter and their brother, and the supporter, the orange supporter, was like, yeah, they need to cut all this big bill, blah blah blah, big beautiful bill, and his brother was like, well, they're cutting Medicaid, and the supporter was like, well, we don't have Medicaid, and the brother said, well, what do you think? And he listed, like, the different states, it's different things, have different names for Medicaid and SNAP and all that. And so the brother was like, well, what do you think this is? And the supporter head exploded and was like, holy shit. His 2 children were about to lose their health insurance because he voted for that.
But it's been that. It's been the heartbeat bill, Adriana Smith.
Mm-hmm.
The second term of the terracotta terrorists. All of the maniacal things that have happened since January, what was it, 19th of this year. Like, y'all gotta start the consequences of the shit y'all doing out here for real.
But my beef is, he said he likes his people dumb. He likes the uneducated. He told y'all that y'all are stupid, and he appreciates it.
Yeah,
and y'all proved him right, to the detriment of everyone. Congrats, assholes.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Queen's Gambit. Thank you so much, because that was one current event we didn't get to talk about, so I appreciate you, sis. Everybody, have a great evening. Thank you for tuning in.
That made me have to pee. I was like, golly. Oh my gosh.
We'll see y'all on Monday. Have a great evening, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Be blessed.
Great night.